Today I'm going to be showcasing all the exotics that never made it out of Destiny 1. Let's get right into it. Starting off is one that I'm sure everyone might miss a little, and that's the Zalo Supercell. This exotic is really similar to the Risk Runner, being that it chains lightning between enemies. It's also a primary auto rifle with the exotic perk Bolts from the Blue. Double kills with this weapon charge a small amount of super energy and return ammo to the magazine. The intrinsic perk is that it has a chance to chain lightning when enemies are close together, so again similar to the Risk Runner, and this was a really great weapon back in D1. The next weapon we never got is the First Curse. I think this was meant to be an opposite to the last word. Its intrinsic trait is that it gains bonus to range, stability, and movement speed when aiming down sights. Its exotic perk is the First Curse. First precision kill of the magazine refills it, granting bonuses to range and stability until the player reloads. I don't think I ever got this weapon in D1, so I forget if it was ever meta, but I'm sure it was somewhat useful in PvP. Boolean Gemini is a primary scout rifle with the intrinsic perk High Caliber Rounds. Oversized rounds built to stagger targets and leave them reeling. Their mass makes the weapon harder to handle. Kind of a useless perk nowadays, being that high caliber rounds is its own thing. The weapon actually had two exotic perks, One Way and Or Another. The perk One Way states bonus agility on precision kills, stacks up to 3 times. The Or Another perk says bonus armor on non-precision kills, stacks up to 3 times. So kind of cool to have a choice on agility or bonus armor. Not gonna lie, this is another weapon that I never got, and I also don't really remember this thing being meta at all. Also, based on the perks, I would just guess that it was really never too strong. The next weapon is the Fabian Strategy, a primary auto rifle exclusive to Titans. The intrinsic perk on this weapon is Crowd Control. Kills with this weapon grant bonus damage for a short time. Its exotic perk, Front Lines, states increased handling, stability, and rate of fire when enemies are close. Kills automatically reload a portion of the magazine. This is another weapon I never got, but I honestly think it would be cool if they brought back the class-specific exotics like this one. Next is another class-specific exotic, this one for the Warlocks being the Talak. Its exotic perk is Overflow. This weapon has better handling, rate of fire, and stability while the wielder's super is charged. This weapon would become really strong once your super would charge, so it was definitely a trade-off to use. But like I said, once your super is charged, this weapon would shred through people. That's it for all the primaries besides the raid exotics, but these were pretty much just the same as the legendary versions with the added benefit of elemental damage, so I'm just going to skip over them for this video. Now onto the secondaries. The Plan C is a fusion rifle in the special weapon slot. It doesn't really have a unique intrinsic perk, but its exotic perk is the Plan C. Charge and equip times are very short immediately after weapon swap. This was a decent weapon to use in the Crucible, being that you could whip it out and shoot it really fast for a fusion rifle. Next is the Invective Shotgun with the exotic perk that regenerates ammo over time. It's basically the shotgun version of the Icebreaker. It also comes with the intrinsic perk Full Auto. I wish this gun was added back into the game, but I don't think Bungie intends on ever bringing ammo regeneration back. Also, I mean, the game is dying now, so I don't really know how many more exotics we'll see. Another shotgun that never came back is the Universal Remote, which is actually a primary weapon. The fact that it's a primary is its intrinsic perk, but it also has the exotic perk Universal Remote. Range and precision damage increase greatly while aiming down sights. This one was, again, pretty good in PvP, and it would be cool if Bungie brought it back. Next is a Dreg's Promise sidearm with the exotic perk Shock Round. High ricochet rounds with enhanced target acquisition. This was actually just the Dreg sidearm, which I hope they add more enemy weapons to the game. Meteor is a sniper rifle with the intrinsic perk Dynamite. Grants explosive rounds. Rapid kills with every round in the clip loads an extra higher damage round for 5 seconds. It also comes with the exotic perk called Laser Beam. Called It's a Laser Beam, stating that the extra round from Dynamite causes a massive explosion. Super cool sniper rifle, and it could even light on fire. Another sniper from D1 is Patience and Time. This one comes with the exotic perk allowing you to go invis when aiming down sights. The problem was that the scope still showed, so it pretty much had nothing going for it. Staying with the sniper rifles, we have the Hereafter. Its intrinsic perk increases scope zoom when crouching and makes it easier to aim under fire. Its exotic perk, Blinding Light, makes it so that precision kills cause a bright flash that can blind nearby enemies. I remember getting this gun and not really using it much at all, and yeah, it's not really the most useful exotic out there. Next is a gun I'm sure a lot of players wish came back, and that's the No Land Beyond primary sniper rifle. It was basically just a primary sniper, which allowed you to run double sniper in PvP. I personally love this gun, and so did probably everybody else. I forgot to mention, but it also had a super unique scope. One more sniper that didn't make it to D2 is the Icebreaker. This was the most meta sniper back in the day. for the reason that it could regenerate ammo. Just such a great gun. I also love the sound effects on it. Wish it would come back, but I definitely think it will not. The last special weapon is one that had to be taken out of the game because it was so broken, and that's the Pocket Infinity. This was a full auto fusion rifle. Just such a stupid idea. It was way too overpowered, and I think they made it basically so that you couldn't increase its power level because, again, it was too good and they didn't want anybody using it. Onto the heavy weapons, we have the super good advice machine gun. This one's exotic perk gave a chance for missed rounds to be returned to the magazine and for landed rounds to be returned to the reserves. Nothing too fancy, but I honestly don't remember how good or not this thing was. Then there's 3 exotic swords. The Boltcaster was an arc Boltcaster sword. The Razelighter was a solar sword that could uppercut with crazy damage, and the Dark Drinker was a Void Vortex sword that was the go-to weapon against Axes. Nowadays in D2, I feel like these swords would kind of just be very basic, so I don't really see a point of bringing them back, but they were definitely great in Destiny 1. Then there's the Nemesis Star. Its intrinsic perk, Extinction Cycle, gave it a burst of higher rate of fire on initial trigger pull, and it also had the exotic perk Strange Gravity, which says while holding down the trigger, range and accuracy increases while rate of fire decreases. Kills grant bonus grenade energy. This weapon was really goofy to look at, and I don't think it was too useful. Next is the Young Wolf's Howl, which had the perk Howling Flames, where you release a solar eruption on swinging the sword. I don't really remember much about this one to be honest, but I think it was really overshadowed by the other swords in the game. Finally, I have to mention the Void and Solar counterparts to the Thunderlord, the Solar being the Abaddon and the Void being the Nova Mortis. They had the same perks as the Thunderlord, basically, just not the whole lightning aspect of it. So yeah, that's it for all the exotics. These were all the ones that never made it out of D1, and I appreciate you guys watching.